Hello, welcome back. I am Megan, also known as Going Green Mom, and the never-ending question is, what do I post on the weeks that I'm not doing a garden tour or an Azure haul? So I have a desire to sort of reset my food situation, so I'm going to take you along for that. A few basics, hopefully not too in-depth, but our food situation can get that way pretty quick. My kids go week on, week off to their dads, so I have 1 week where I am cooking for just me, and 1 week where I have 3 of us in the house and possibly help with cooking. I put in 1 grocery order every 2 weeks. That's sort of our main grocery order, although lately I have been playing around with putting in a smaller order on the off week for milk. I have in the past reacted to milk, or not to milk. I have in the past reacted to water, so I do drink a lot of milk. We go through about 5 gallons a week. We only have room for that max in our fridges because we use too many fridges. I do need to get water refills, which was the Harding's list you saw at the beginning, but it's cheaper for me to put in an in-between order for Aldi's rather than send teenagers to Dollar General or somewhere else to get milk, because they always seem to get something else as well. So I figure if I put some non-perishables in an in-between order with the milk, and that has been going well for about a month and a half, that works into like I'm trying to be very conscious about debt payoff right now. But then I have some other issues. So lately I have been just not eating or eating crap that I shouldn't. Like, I seem to be defaulting to my youngest's defaults, and unfortunately she defaults to things like ramen noodles and grilled cheese, and I should be gluten-free. So yeah, not exactly the greatest idea in the world. And so I would like to sort of get to the point I have options I can easily cook or grab to eat at the times when they are not home. The youngest is still in school, so that will take care of breakfasts and lunches, sort of. They occasionally grab something, but it's kind of, it will fit in if they want to take something with. And then we basically need snacks, and then at least 1 meal a day that can be cooked anywhere from afternoon to evening and eaten as desired, pretty much. But ideally, I would have stuff that is not sitting in a refrigerator as leftovers, but individually portioned and in the freezer. I don't currently have histamine issues, but slippery slope, especially when I've been eating like crap. So the goal is to get things on the list that will use up the stuff we have in the house, and then be stuff that people can grab. I really need snack ideas, if anybody has any. We do really like pizza. At the same time, I'm trying not to heat the house up with the oven a whole lot. And I don't have a good gluten-free dough recipe that is tried and true. I do want to get into gluten-free bread making and stuff a little bit more, so I can come up with ideas and know that I have a good go-to sandwich bread or tortilla recipe, stuff like that I could use instead of, that tastes just as good. And pizza dough would definitely fit into that category. Now, I do use this app called Colornote, and it is color-coded. So basically, I think all of my food-related stuff is in green. And I just go through and move things around on this list. These are all sort of tried and true options for us to eat. I have been trying to eat more seasonally this year, but we're sort of in a weird time where I'm pulling a few cucumbers out here and there out of the garden. My kale has been decimated by bugs. On one hand, it's cabbage whites on the Premier and red Russian. I think it's red Russian kale. I don't know. On one end of the house, it's cabbage whites. On the other end of the house, it actually looks like maybe aphids or flea beetles. We've got a couple of tomatoes blushing, but let's put it this way. We're seriously hoping to get at least 2 of them off the plants this week. The youngest has requested that we do a big salad with tomatoes. And yes, we don't really buy tomatoes at the store because store-bought tomatoes taste like disappointment. And unfortunately, our tomato harvest this year has so far been disappointing. It is mid-August and we have yet to have a ripe tomato. We are in northern Indiana, zone 5, or we were just rezoned to zone 6. Anyway, we should have our first 2 tomatoes off this week, and that will hopefully give us enough tomato to do a salad and possibly either BLTs or tomato sandwiches. I have been having a lot of heartburn due to a spinal subluxation, and pork gives me heartburn anyway. So I probably will not do a BLT. I'll probably do a tomato sandwich. That's what I've been craving for months anyway. And yes, I shouldn't eat tomatoes raw because of the mast cell stuff and the lectins in them. I will probably skin mine and pull some of the seeds out, which is where most of the lectins reside. And hopefully that is enough because I have also been fighting mosquito bites. So anyway, with this thing, I basically, stuff that I want to make, I move up to the top. Stuff that I'm not making right now, I'm moving down to the bottom. Like the corned beef, we love corned beef, but it's made with brisket and we don't have any brisket out of the animal we have in the freezer anymore because I needed to cook that. Actually, I do have 1 bag of cubes of brisket, essentially, that is probably going to go into the beef and broccoli this week. So in the next couple of days, hopefully we will have a big salad. We will have some tomato sandwiches or BLTs. I am trying to keep the temperature down in the house because using the oven heats things up and we don't have AC. So today it's supposed to be up to 90 and I'm already feeling the heat just having the big fan off while I do this voiceover. So it's sort of yeah. In case you're unaware, I do have food issues with health stuff. I would kind of also prefer to be a vegetarian. I was a vegetarian as a teenager, and I have a very large aversion to touching meat. So stuff like cutting things, or like, if I can, I'm cooking my meat from frozen and not worrying about it because it just feels like hard. You know what I mean? With the histamine issues, I also use the Instant Pot a lot. So I think with what I'm looking at in these, I might do a couple batches of ground beef where like I make taco meat and I make maybe like an Asian flavor profile ground beef. Then I can add that to salads or other things. Things like the egg roll in a bowl type or fried rice type issues, and I just realized I added that again because I couldn't find it. So the goal is to keep the house as cool as possible and at the same time try and get some options in here so they're not running to the store for candy because they're getting bad about that. Unfortunately, I am bad about that, but it's not healthy for any of us. So if you have any gluten-free, dairy-free type of ideas that you think we might like, please toss them in the comments down below, or thoughts on meal prepping too. I have noticed that a lot of the people doing gluten-free, dairy-free stuff, a lot of it is substitute type things, and a lot of these substituted flours don't work for me, as well as the dairy-free substitutes don't work for everybody in the household. So we need stuff to eat that is just good in its own right, if that makes sense, or ways to adapt things. We are actually we like things to have flavor. We like a variety of cuisines. My oldest likes spicy, but the youngest and I can't handle it quite so much. A lot of Asian stuff is naturally gluten-free, dairy-free, but possibly not the easiest to make. I have looked at things like the blood type diet. We have 2 O blood types and an A blood type in the household, and that can be interesting to mix at times. most of us are not terribly good with sugar. Like, I mean, I like sugar, but I react to sugar. And the youngest is definitely sensitive to sugar more, so we need to have a lot of stuff that is not overly sweet. I don't know. Maybe I should look into those books a little bit more again. Either way, I will see you guys on Tuesday for a Tiny Tidy.